Well, hello there, folks, and welcome to another episode of 162 Times, your daily baseball recap and preview show. I'm your host, Daniel Turner. Good to be with you. Coming to you from a lovely apartment in central Madrid, capital of Spain, capital of the autonomous community of the city of Madrid. Earlier today, we left the autonomous community of Valencia, which was absolutely wonderful. And then we passed through the autonomous community of Castile and La Mancha on a super high-speed train operated by Ouigo. There are 17 autonomous communities in Spain. Can you name them all? There are also 50 provinces, but the autonomous communities are more interesting. We arrived at Madrid Chamartín station. We exited our train. We got our metro passes, and then I realized I'd lost my camera because I'd left it on the train. I had a panic attack. My partner was very good and calmed me down. I eventually found the lost and found area and used my phone to translate, "I left my phone on the train." And then some very helpful people help me track it down. Can you believe that? I have my camera back. It's wonderful. Madrid seems really cool. It's a national holiday today. It's 15th of August, and it's the feast or the celebration of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. In the Orthodox tradition, they call it the Dormition, but this is effectively where Mary dies and then is taken to heaven. In the Christian tradition, of course. And her, so kind of like Jesus, it's not like she was resurrected, but like she died and then she was like assumed up to heaven. That's how I'm reading it. I also like the word dormition because it reminds me of the French verb dormir, which means to sleep. So anyway, most stuff is closed today, so it's nice. We traveled on a national holiday. We didn't miss out on anything because stuff is closed. We're in a nice apartment now in central Madrid, as I said, near the Il Retiro Park. We'll go check that stuff out tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. And there's some Mariners baseball to talk about. So it's been bad times at the Mariners baseball factory lately, in the sense that they swept the Mets, which was awesome, but the hated Astros also swept the Red Sox, and then the Mariners went to Detroit and got spanked in Game 1, and then we're going to talk about Game 2 and tee up Game 3, but long story short, Mariners dropped Game 2 in heartbreaking fashion, 3-2, and the Astros have won 8 straight, so they won their first, they swept the Rays in Tampa, which is not easy to do. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Final was 3-2 Tigers in 10 innings. Tigers go to 58 and 63, fourth in the American League Central. Mariners go to 63 and 58, second in the AL West. M's had 5 hits for 2 runs, no errors. Tigers had 7 hits for 3 runs, no errors. Win went to reliever Holton. He's now 5-1 with 2.66 ERA. Loss went to Colin Snyder, 2-2 now, 1.13 ERA. Too bad for Colin. That was an extra innings thing. Starters in this one were Brian Wu, who went 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 6 Ks. Come on. His ERA is 2.06 now in the season. Detroit used an opener. It was a guy named Brisky who went 1 1/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 Ks. Then Salmons went 5 2/3. He gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Then it was Vest, former Mariner, who went 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 K. The rest of the way it was Miller, Foley, and Holton for the Tigers, and Miller and Foley struck out 1, Holton struck out 2, so the Mariners struck out 11 times, as is typical. For the Mariners, and the story of the game, it was Jimmy Garcia, the guy they got from Toronto. He's credited with a blown save. He pitched an inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 1 strikeout, and it was a 2-run homer that tied the game in the bottom of the 8th. And then the Tigers won it in extras with the ghost runner. Colin Snyder did give up 1 hit and 1 run. He walked 1 and struck out 1. Andres Munoz did the 9th and K'd 1 guy. Mariners, I said, they struck out their typical 11 times. And the Seattle pitchers struck out 9. Tigers. I will just mention that Brian Wu threw 7 innings and 85 pitches. I mean, the kid is a stud. So that's really good. The offense didn't help him very much. And, yeah, that's just the way she goes sometimes. I saw in today's lineup, which we'll talk about in a minute, that Julio's back on the 10-day IL with an ankle. So he came back from 2 days, struck out 5 times, got an RBI in the other night in that horrible game, and is now back on the IL. All right, so yeah, the way this game went in terms of scoring was that Jorge Polanco singled in Dylan Moore in the top of the 5th. Then Julio Rodriguez singled in Victor Robles, made it 2-0 in the top of the 8th. So we're looking good. Brian's pitching great. But then Kerry Carpenter, his 11th home, 11th home run of the year in the bottom of the 8th, scored Matt Vierling and himself to tie the game. And then Akil Baddoo doubled. And Parker Meadows scored the winning run in the bottom of the 10th to walk it off for the Tigers. Horrible stuff. Tonight's game is already underway, but I won't spoil it for you. So we're praying to the Virgin Mary tonight that things will go well for the Mariners. Let's look at the game day page. It's going to be our boy. It's going to be our boy Bryce Miller who's pitching. Bryce, so far in the season, is doing pretty well. He is 9-7, 3.34 ERA, 24 starts, 126 strikeouts, 1.01 WHIP. He's got that kind of numbers, and he's the 4th starter for the Mariners, guys. And Brian Wu's the 5th starter, and he just did what I told you, and the Mariners are barely above 500. Sometimes I wonder about this team. Tigers are rolling out Fado, a fellow by the name of Alex Fado. He'll be pitching. He's 5-3, 3.72 ERA. He's mostly been a reliever. He's only started 5 games this season. He's got a 1.35 WHIP and a 3.72 ERA. In terms of lineups, how are the Mariners going to be tonight? Well, let's find out. Robles in center leading off. Polanco at second, batting second. Rosarena in left, third in the order. Cal Raleigh will catch. Luke Raley will play first. Turner will DH. Canzone will be in right. Moore will be at shortstop, and Rojas will be at third. On the Tigers side of the ball, it'll be Malloy in left, Carpenter DHing, Keith at second, Dingler behind the plate, Madris at first, Parker Meadows in center, Ibanez at third, Akil Baddoo in right, and Javi Baez at short, batting ninth. Great. So let's hope for good things. Now, before we let you go tonight and we go and eat some delicious meats and cheeses, because it's literally all you eat in Spain, and there's zero problem with that, we got to recap yesterday's games, Wednesday's games. So, as I mentioned, the horrible, hated Houston Astros made a 2-1 sweep, and what's extra cruel is that they walked off the Rays didn't walk off, but they won in 10 innings against the Rays, 2-1. It's a huge bummer. Blue Jays beat the Angels 9-2. Braves beat the Giants 13-2, pardon me. Brewers over the Dodgers 5-4. Phils over the Marlins 9-5. Yanks over the White Sox 10-2. A's lost to the Mets 9-1. Guardians beat the Cubbies 6-1. Orioles beat the Nationals 4-1. Reds beat the Cardinals 9-2. Red Sox lost to the Rangers in 10 innings by a score of 9-7. The Padres beat the Pirates 8-2. Pirates have just been terrible the last couple weeks. Diamondbacks over the Rockies 11-4. Diamondbacks have been on fire. And the Royals beat the Twins 4-1. So right now, as it stands, I think the Mariners are 2.5 games out in the division. If they lose tonight, something like that, it's not great. And they're a similar distance back of Kansas City in the wild card as we speak. But, things can change. The Mariners can beat Detroit. We can pray for those kind of things. Otherwise, we've got a great day lined up tomorrow. We're going to go to the Prado Museum, see some cool stuff, walk around that park I mentioned. We're going to eat some tapas. Maybe 1 tapa, maybe 2 tapa, and we'll have a good time. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye.